Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I'm really excited to show you what's new in Maple 2025. Now, there's a lot of material to cover, and so what I'm going to do is we're just going to dive right into it. Um, I want to make sure that there's time for me to answer questions, but if you think of questions, as Rochelle said, as I'm going through any of the material, just feel free to put them in the Q&A. And I'll do my best to kind of keep an eye on it, but otherwise I will make sure that we have time to answer any questions during the Q&A session. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Maple 2025. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen, or at least my face, so that you don't have to look at the side of my face for this entire video, and we'll get started. Okay, so on my screen, I have Maple 2025, and one of the big and exciting new features, I'm already giving it away just by having Maple 2025 up on my screen, are changes that we made to the interface. So I figured that would be a good place to start. So I'm just going to click here and let me talk to you about the interface. Now, as many of you know, Maple has, for a long time, had a very rich interface. I think Maple's interface and the features that we've included for ease of use is really what makes Maple a tool that people start using and they stick to it. Students really like it. They don't need to have commands and syntax. But let me quickly kind of show you some of the things that I talk about. So the context panel, you'll see here, the context panel, the options or the commands that are available in the context panel change based on what is selected in my cursor. So here, if I have a trig expression, I'll have the option to integrate it, or I can differentiate it. Or if I have a matrix over here, I'll have the ability to get eigenvalues, or I'll be able to perform other operations on it. Or if I have a differential equation, it'll allow me to solve that differential equation or solve it interactively. And the context panel is something that a lot of students really appreciate, especially if they're not familiar with Maple, because it allows them to get productive and start making meaningful or getting meaningful insights with a single click. Now, something else that makes Maple really unique, and again, along that theme of ease of use, is how simple it is to enter in math that looks like math that you would see on the textbook. So we have the palettes over here. It's very easy for students to click, get a template. They can use tab and fill in the different entries. Something else that many of you may remember is that a few years ago, we allowed users to even take a picture of their math with the Maple Calculator app and bring it into Maple. So I just want to show you that feature. I'm going to quickly stop sharing my desktop and let me share my phone. So here I'm going to share my phone, and hopefully you can now see that on the screen. And I'm going to launch the Maple Calculator app. So I've launched that, and something that you can do is take a picture of any expression. So I have one written over here. It does a fantastic job at handwriting recognition. So you take a picture. Of course, it gives you, like the context panels, the solution to different operations. I can look at steps. But what I wanted to show you here is this upload to Maple Cloud. So it takes whatever I've taken a picture of or whatever I've typed into the editor, and I'm able to upload that to the Maple Cloud. This is another way that students can take a picture of the math that they're working on and start using it in Maple. So I've done that. I'm going to stop sharing my phone and show you how you can actually retrieve any math that you take a picture of. So if you haven't played with the Maple Calculator, it's been a while, I encourage you to take a look. It's a free mobile app. But now I'm back in Maple and I want to show you this. I can go to the Maple Cloud. Let me look at my files. Go to Maple Calculator. I can quickly take a look at this expression that I uploaded. It'll see I get all of the different options that were available in the calculator available to me here. I can see the calling sequence, the different commands, but I can also copy and paste this directly into my worksheet, like so. And now I can use the context panel and continue to do things. So that's another way. And the reason I show this is we've gotten a lot of feedback from Maple users, especially from new Maple users, who really like the ability to take a picture of math and bring it into Maple. It just simplifies being able to enter in something if you can't find the symbol or you're not able to figure out how to put it into Maple. Just take a picture and bring it into Maple. Something else that I wanted to show you is command completion and argument completion. So over here, something that I can do is with command completion, I'll just call fsolve. If I press escape, you'll see over here, it gives me all of the different commands, and I can put this in. Or something else, and maybe I should make my screen a little bit bigger. Let me just bump it up a notch. Something else I can do is, let's say I was plotting. I can use plot, and it allows me to go through kind of different options. And I pick plot because that personally is the one where I always forget all of the different options. And so now I can just use my cursor or use my mouse and click some of the different options. So I'll do that right now and pick a color scheme. And here I have the plot. And assistants. So we have a wide variety of assistants in Maple. If you go to tools, and I'm already showing you the new ribbon interface, we'll get to that shortly, but if I click on assistants, you'll see some of the assistants over here, and you can click if you're code generating, or if you need to use the plot builder, or if you're trying to do something else, you could take a look at some of the assistants that are available over here. Now, what's new in Maple 2025 is the ribbon interface. And I love this because I think it makes it really easy to find related operations, related things. The icons are bigger. It just gives Maple a new, clean, fresh look. It takes advantage of what other software tools like Microsoft Office does. And so this is something that a lot of users have asked for. You know, they've wanted something that was a little bit more modern. And so I'm really proud of the new ribbon interface. Please take a look. You know, items, like I said over here, are grouped logically. So you have home, insert, you know, edit menu, and you can click on all of these things. Evaluation, there's a new education ribbon over here. So we've taken items from the different menus in previous versions of Maple 2024, and we've reorganized it. And as a result, we have this new education ribbon. So this is here. Now I know some users, it takes a little bit of while, it's a little bit different. And if you are ever stuck and you don't know where, you know, which ribbon something has moved into, take a look. If you go to the what's new, so if I go to help and I go to what's new, if I look on the user interface, there is this help page, and it just gives you a mapping of where things are now located. So just a handy tip, would love your feedback on the ribbon interface. Something else over here is the ribbons are contextual. So if I click an image, I have the drawing ribbon, and I can go and I can update it. Or if I have a plot over here, you'll see all of the different tools that I need to interact with the plot are now available to me in this ribbon. I can also draw. All of these things are now available in the ribbon. Something else, another improvement that we've made in 2025, let me close this area so you can see this, is we've optimize the experience for entering in polynomials, fractions, index variables. And what we've done is we have basically simplified the number of keystrokes that you need in order to enter something. So in previous versions, something like this expression, you would have to push the right arrow key 6 times. Now in Maple 2025, when you type in an exponent, a fraction, or if you're using the underscore, and if you follow that by a number or symbol, such as the equal sign, the plus operator, multiplication, the operator will automatically be inserted on the baseline. So let me show you this. So here I have it. I'm going to do x squared. Now in the past, you have to use the right arrow key. So here, all I have to do is click on minus, and you'll see it automatically adds the subtraction to the baseline. I can do, oops, 1/2, so divide. Over here, same thing. I'm going to do multiplication, moves to the baseline. Here I can do this. Again, I'm going to press plus, moves to the baseline. And I think you kind of get the drift of what it works like. If, for whatever reason, you don't want the cursor to move to the baseline, there's a few different options. One simple way is, in this case, if I didn't want to, I could just backspace over it. And now next time, it'll just put the operator kind of where I want it. Alternatively, another thing that you could do is and then over here, I could just press space and then use the operator that I want to add. So that's something else you can do. And I think it makes it, again, easier for new users to get started with Maple to enter in their math. Something else that we've improved is argument completion. So let me just execute this. So I've gone ahead and I've attached to my workbook some audio files over here. I'm calling them, or actually, I'm sorry, over here, I'm just reading them in from the Maple data directory. What I can do here is I'm going to call signal processing. And let me do this. And now, variables, it should show up. Oh, there we go. I just have to be patient. You'll see that any user-defined variables are now also available to me, and all of the user-defined variables are available to me in the argument completion. So I can go and pick one over here, audio 3. And if I do this, I'll get my plot, and you'll go back to the palette, and you can see that in my variables palette, I have these 3 audio files have been loaded into my Maple document. So that's quickly just some of the things that we've done for interface. Like I said, we spent a whole year redesigning that ribbon interface, just making it easier for users to find the tools that they need to interact with Maple. So I'd love your thoughts on this. Moving on, let me close this. I can close this as well. So let's talk about all the changes and updates that we've done and made to the Maple Math Engine. So, I think it's worth noting here, but Maplesoft is known for the power and strength of its Maple Math Engine, and it's something we've built our reputation on. And so we're determined year after year to stay in the lead, to continuously refine, offer new features when it comes to improving the Maple Math Engine. And you can read about all the different improvements in the What's New. Again, go to here, you can read about everything that we've done. For the sake of this webinar, I'm just going to show or highlight a few of the things that we've done that I think users would really appreciate, or at least users on this call would really appreciate. So one, my favorite, is in Maple 2025, we have a new package called Expression Tools, and it'll help users visually identify where large expressions differ. So I'm going to start this off. I'm going to load the package over here. Again, let me bump this up a little bit. So expression tools, and I'm going to start with a really simple example. So here I have a variable x1, x2, and now I'm going to use something called compare, and I'm just going to compare the two of these. And you'll see it'll already kind of highlight the difference, so I can see where things are different. Now let me give you a more meaty example where you can really see the power of what you can do with the expression tools package. So here I have, again, these 2 expressions, fairly large expressions that I have entered, and I'm going to call compare. So in this example, the 2 expressions are combined into one, and differing sub-expressions, so the differing sub-expressions are replaced by a vector containing the 2 corresponding sub-expressions, each highlighted in a different color to indicate the original expression that they were a part of. So this is a feature I think a lot of you in the audience or listening who do a lot of research will find this very, very useful. Another area that we've improved is simplify. So simplify is a very, very common function. And what we've done is we've refined it in Maple 2025. So it now recognizes when exponentials can be more compactly represented. So let me give you an example over here. So in this particular example over here, a simplify now recognizes when this can be converted to a hyperbolic trig function. So it's just more compact representation. Here's another example over here. So in older versions of Maple, this result would have been more verbose, and it is succinctly represented or presented in this worksheet as a result of the improvements to simplify. Now, there are many more improvements. Take a look at the What's New, and you can read about them, and followed by lots of examples. So another area that we've improved is the ability to now have a new vector form of fsolve. So over here, I have this example. So let me show it to you over here. So here I have fsolve, and you can see over here, you can give fsolve a vector of equations, as I've done over here. So I've defined my equations up above, my equations, and here's my constraint. And I've also provided fsolve with a vector of initial values, and fsolve will return the results. It won't return a vector of equations. It will just return the numerical results. And in Maple 2025, I can go ahead and assign these directly to a name, as you can see over here. So some other improvements. There's a new feature over here called Identify Sequence. And what it allows you to do, as you can imagine, or as the name implies, is identify the sequence from a first few terms. So here, press enter, and you can see that it gives you this. So this is something else. Now, another one that has been requested a lot is, how do you get Maple to give you the closed form, this numerical inverse Laplace transform. So in many applications in engineering and science, the result in Laplace transforms, you have no closed form analytical inverse that can be represented in terms of elementary functions. And so what we've done is we've made a refinement to the intrans command over here. So you can now invert Laplace transforms numerically. So let me show you this. So we've made a change to that. And give it a moment, it's evaluating. So over here, this example over here, what I have, it is Laplace transform from an analysis of voltages on a transmission line. This does not have a closed form inverse, but now in Maple 2025, it can be inverted numerically. And that's what I've shown over here. So we've made improvements. And this one is specifically to feedback that we've had from instructors over the years, from engineers who've wanted the ability to do this. And now you can in Maple 2025. So that's just a smattering of some of the improvements that we've made to the math engine. And like I mentioned before, you can read about it and get more details in the What's New. So let's talk about visualization. So Maple has a really impressive plotting engine, and you can generate a wide variety of different plot types, and every release, we're refining that plot engine. So a few releases ago, we introduced color bars for contour plots, as you can see over here. 3D plots over here, you can take a look at some of the things we do, and there's a bunch of other plot types. In fact, if I go to the help, and I can search the plotting guide. Let me bring that up. Here we go. I can see some of the different types of plots that you can generate in Maple. And so you can take a look at all of these different ones. One thing that I like and I want to mention over here is we do have a lot of specialized engineering plots as well. And so here I've added 2 of them that you can take a look. So, so here's a psychometric chart. And over here, if I hover over any of these, I can get, this one, I can get information about the composition of the alloy. So other things that we can do, or before I go to that, Maple does offer the ability to really refine the looks of your plot. And so here you can go ahead and change this. I can change it. I can have a gray grid. And I've just used a drop-down box to illustrate this. But Maple makes it very easy for you to refine the look and feel of your plots. In addition to this, we have the plot builder. If you haven't taken a look at that, that's something, again, a point and click feature. You can take a look and you can customize your plot. You can even look at any of the commands. And again, to get to the plot builder, if I'm hovering over something, let me just put it over here, just quickly show you. Over here, if I have something, I'll just pick something. I can go and click over here on the plot builder, and you'll see this can open up. And I get options over here in the panel, and I can make changes. So if I don't want a 3D plot, if I want a contour plot, I can take a look. At any point, if I want to see the command, I can click on this and it inserts the command over here so I can take a look and I can customize it. Something else that I really like is you can create animations and explorations. So this is another tool that I thought I would mention as well. So new in 2025 is the ability to have a sparse option for matrix plots. So let me do that, and you can see that over here. And this is really useful if you're dealing with sparse matrices. And another improvement that we've made to visualization is in contour plots, the ability, as you can see over here, to label your axes with a custom range as I've done so. And so I can change this. So that is something that I wanted to talk about in visualization. Let me close this out. Now, when it comes to some of the features in education, I already mentioned the education ribbon over here. We've just reorganized this, so it's really easy to find any tutors that you were looking for. So these are all here, but things else that I really like about this education ribbon is you have easy access to the math apps. You can take a look at all of the different math applications that are available to you, and feel free to click on any one of them. And all of the math apps are organized in the same way. I'll pick one out over here. And so they have a main concept. Often they'll have a proof, an explanation, and something that is interactive that you can play with. Something else is, if you didn't know, we also include study guides. They're in the help system, but you have a pre-calculus study guide, calculus study guide, and a multivariate study guide. So these are interactive ebooks on core math subjects. Again, great for any students who maybe need a refresher or are struggling. Feel free to look at any of the content in the study guides and incorporate it into your own lessons. A great wealth of resource. We also have direct access to the Teacher Resource Center, the Student Help Center over there. If you're using tasks, all of the task authoring, you can just click on this and it'll open it up. So everything that you need is in the education ribbon. Now, in terms of some improvements that we made. So I really wish I had this when I was a student studying mathematics. I think it would just help me understand concepts, but really I think those moments of frustration where I couldn't solve something or I made a mistake and I didn't know what to do next, I really wish I had had access to step-by-step solutions in order to see where I went wrong. It is opposed to asking a peer or waiting for the next day. So you'll see here, Maple has always had it, and we've always provided step-by-step solutions for common math problems. We've done this for a number of releases, but in release in 2025, we've refined that functionality so steps are more succinct and intelligent. So here, I'll give you an example. In this release, we have a better heuristic for a number of different integration and differentiation methods. And in this particular example, integration steps are more compact than they are in prior releases. So take a look. We've made a number of enhancements. And something to note is the Maple calculator, as well as Maple Learn, everything is powered by the Maple Math Engine. And so the results, the improvements that we've made to the math engine in this area are also found in the other products in Calculator and in Maple Learn. So you can take a look. Now, something that I'm really excited about. Something I'm really excited about is the try another feature. So one of the things I hear from students is they struggle sometimes when they're working on a problem. Maybe they got stuck, they saw the solution, and now they need to try another problem. And sometimes it's really hard to find a good problem, a problem that kind of is in the similar vein to what they were working on. And so now we've built in to Maple this ability to try another problem. And so over here, I'll give you an example. So you can go here, grading factor practice. I've embedded it. You'll see. So this is in addition to check my work. So over here, I can go ahead and I can factor this. Let's see, I'm going to do this. And info. So I'm just showing you the check my work feature. So here, or if I made a mistake, I can click on check my work. Check my work will analyze my work and will let me know where I've made a mistake. It'll pinpoint me to the mistake. But what I love here is, let's say now I go and I'm able to fix it. I can try check my work again. Now check my work can work for all types of different problems, integration, differentiation, limits, factoring, solving, so on and so forth. But new in Maple 2025 is the ability to get another problem. So I can click try another and I get another problem, as you can see over here, and then I can continue to work on this. So I just think this is the next level, right? We had check my work, getting a lot of positive feedback about check my work, but now it's the ability to click on try another. So please take a look. Let me know what you think about it. Other improvements that we've made a number of improvements to the student ODE sub-package. So things that we've improved, concepts of integration are now more in a friendly format. And this is something, just a pet peeve that some instructors and students had. It made it sometimes hard to read the solution. And so now this is, again, what you would see in a textbook or how an instructor would work through a problem. ODA solutions are now better simplified, and the concepts of integration are redefined as necessary to achieve the most compact form. Polynomial particular solutions for second order linear ODEs, which are found via the series method, are now used to completely solve the ODE via reduction order. There are tons of examples in the help page. Let me just show you a few over here. So in this particular example over here, you'll see the factor y of x is now ignored because it does not include any derivatives, leading to a simpler solution. Here's another example. Well, luckily I have the output for you, so I'm not quite sure what's going on and I don't want to investigate in this webinar, but here in this example, the preliminary solution now undergoes extra simplification and constants of integration are redefined, leading to a simpler result. And you can see that over here. I have some more examples that you can take a look and talk about or look at some of the improvements that we made to the student ODE package over here in terms of some of the steps. Something else that I really like is that in 2025, we've extended the ODE plot command, and now you can actually input a custom system via command line. And this makes it just really quick to visualize a given system. So here I'm going to go, actually, I should go ahead. So here's my system. And if I call ODE plot, you'll see, and it has my custom system already in place. So in previous versions, again, you could use ODE plot, but you have to go ahead and manually enter in your system, which was just a little cumbersome. So we've made it easier for students to do that, making it just, one step less that they have to take in order to visualize their system. Another improvement, and this again comes from feedback from students, is Maple 2025 includes 2 new commands for checking if an infinite series converges and finding its radius of convergence. So again, I have some examples over here, and then you can just take a look. And this is something that we've had students request. They want to be able to see it. It's questions that they have in their courses, and there was no easy way for them to do this in Maple. And now we have these 2 new commands that they can employ, and they can easily see if something converges or what the radius of convergence is. So those are some of the improvements we've made when it comes to teaching and learning with Maple. AI. So let me get to this. So AI, I mean, lots of people, everybody asks me, what are we going to do next? And how are we going to leverage AI? And we have spent a lot of time internally thinking about how people are using AI tools and what they would want to do with it and how it fits into Maple. And so some of the things that we've done over the past release is, you have seen in Maple 2024, we introduced the AI formula assistant. So I'm going to click on this over here. And the AI formula assistant, over here, it allows you to interact with an LLM and ask it to provide you the formula for, in this case, there's a deflection of a cantilever with a point load, or it could be looking for what is the equation for calculating the total resistance of 5 resistors in parallel. Or, and let's try this one, I can click on what is the best glide range of light aircraft. And so I can click on this and you'll see it takes a moment, or actually did that really quickly, but it'll give me the formula. It'll also give me the formula kind of in different representations. So I can look on it. I can click the one that I want. And all I have to do is click this button and it'll insert the formula. So if you haven't played with the AI Formula Assistant, check it out. There's a lot of things that you can do. And feel free to see what results it gives you. Now with AI, and we tell everybody, and I think everybody on this call will know this, you have to take the results with a grain of salt. But I've found with the Formula Assistant, it does a very good job giving me the formula that I'm looking for. So here's again, some examples, some screenshots. And go ahead and play with this. So another thing, in previous releases of Maple, we introduced the natural language package. So I'm going to load this over here. And some of the things that you can do with the natural language package is you can call a LLM and you can ask it to do things like, okay, well, what is the command in order to, in this case, generate the contour plot of sine of x in Maple? And you can go ahead, you can employ this, and it will give you the command over here. And if I, oops. So now sometimes you have to make small tweaks to syntax, but in this case, oops, I'll highlight this. Let me bring this down. I will put a colon over here and I'll get the plot. But feel free to try and ask it different things, different plotting types, or if you're looking for something or how to do something in Maple, take a look. Again, use a grain of salt, try it out. You might have to make a few tweaks, but this is another way that we're exploring with AI. We'll just click that, push that away. One of the other things I really like is being able to leverage the explain command, which is part of the natural language package, and basically use this to help it explain equations that I'm not familiar with. So in this example, I have this equation. I'm not sure what it meant to represent. What it does, I can click on explain, and you'll see it goes ahead and it gives me details on what this is, how I might use it. If I want more information, I can just type in explain more. And it'll give me a wealth of information, and I can look at this, how does this compare to Schrodinger's equation, so on and so forth. So this is another feature that I like, and I encourage people to use this, especially if they have something they're reading in a textbook, they're not familiar with a form of an equation, what it does. Again, they can take a picture of it with the Maple calculator, bring it up into Maple, and then use the explain command to get more information. So new in Maple 2025. Now this is a technology preview, so there's still refinements and enhancements that we are going to make, but we wanted to put it out in the hands of our users. And this is the ability to create AI generated documents. And so here, let me show you how you can use this. So I'm going to call the natural language package. There's something called generate document interactive. It pulls this up for me over here. And now I can go and ask it some questions. So, create a document that explains, let me see, what do I want it to do? How do I derive the formula, or how do I derive the formula for an area of a circle? I can go and change the number of paragraphs, so do this in 4 paragraphs. Something I really like is I can specify the role that I want the AI to use when it's explaining something. So explain this to me. You're a teacher, and now explain this concept to me. And I click on start the conversation. And you'll see that in a moment, it will go ahead and basically create me a document. So it uses text. All of the math here is live. I can use the context panel. I can execute things. So I can look at this. If I wanted to, I can open this as a new document. I can continue the conversation. So if I like what it had done, but maybe I want some more examples, I can kind of give it that context. I'm going to go ahead and clear the conversation. Another use case, and it actually happened quite recently. I was talking to someone and they were talking about bifurcation theory in the context of nonlinear dynamics. And this is an area that I'm not familiar with. And so I asked AI to generate a document to explain this for me. So I'm just going to copy this here. And this is what I had asked. So what is bifurcation theory in the context of nonlinear dynamics? Please give me some examples and explain it in layman terms. And I said, okay, I'm a scientist. Again, I can ask for 4 paragraphs. Actually, let me do this as a teacher, and I'm going to start the conversation. And this just gave me a starting point. So like I said, this is something that we wanted users to play with. Feel free to use it if you're creating educational content, you're trying to explain something to a student. Again, like I said before, I can open this in a new document. All of the math, I mean, this example, there was one thing, but all of the math is live, so I can make some changes. Or if I can ask it to give me a bunch of problems, there's lots of functionality, and it's just your imagination. Here's another example that I really like. Over here, this one is kind of more suited to the engineering audience, but it is using a large language model to ask the question is, how do I calculate the compressive strength of slow hardening concrete as a function of time? Use this particular model. And what I love is you can say, include a worked example with Maple code. So this is what I did. This is what we generated. And you'll see over here, it gave me some information, but it also gave me the Maple code, which I can go ahead now and I can execute. So I'm going to right click this and say execute the code, and I'll see the results. So take a look. You do, like I have to say, just be a little bit careful. A little bit of skepticism when using AI, I think, is important. See what it looks like. The code, it might make mistakes. Feel free to modify it. It's there to act as a starting point. And I just think all of us here at Maplesoft think with time, AI is going to get better. And so we didn't want to hold off in terms of giving this feature to our users. We wanted them to have it, to play with it. It is a technology preview, but one that I'm really enjoying using. If you find any bugs, please let us know. Really happy for the feedback. So that's AI. And I wanted to talk about, lastly, graph theory. So my background's in engineering. I never really studied graph theory, but I am finding it a really interesting area, lots of different applications, to be able to analyze social networks, electrical circuits, road networks, so on and so forth. I have been playing with Maple's graph theory package. And so I wanted to show you, just some previous things that we've done with graph theory. So we've used it. This is work that my colleague did. I can't take credit for it, but basically to analyze interaction data from our online Maple Primes community. And we go ahead, we looked at it, I pulled interaction data from, this date, and you can upload it. I have the Excel sheet here in my workbook, and then I can go ahead and look at this, and you can see how we can go ahead and draw this graph, and I can see the graph. And so these are things that we could do. Over here, again, I can create a bar chart of the most influential users on Maple Primes. And so you can take a look over here and see who these are and just play with it. There's a lot of functionality. New in Maple 2025 is the all simples path. So the all simples path, it returns an iterator with which one step through all the paths for a given vertex to another vertex in a directed graph. So here I have it over here. So here's the graph, and I can use this. Oops, let me load the graph theory package. Now we should try it. It's because I didn't execute the previous example. So here we go. Um, Another example is there's a new tool for identifying all of the ancestors and descendants of a node in a graph. And you can see that over here. And something else that I wanted to mention is we've introduced two new special graphs to the graph theory package. And you can see those over here. And what I wanted to show you, scroll down, and this is added to all of the different types of special graphs. Let me close this so you can see it a little better that Maple offers. So you can take a look. Again, this is just an area that I've been playing with, exploring. I love the examples. I'm learning something new. So take a look. Like I said, I wanted to make sure I had sufficient time in this webinar to answer questions. And so there are many things that I didn't cover. Take a look at not the Maple portal, the what's new in Maple, and you can read all of the details about the improvements, the new features that we've made to Maple 2025. There's a lot in connectivity. There's a lot of enhancements to unit, performance improvements. So take a look at that. And also, if you don't have access to Maple 2025, you want to try it out, keep in mind that we also have an evaluation copy. You can go sign up and get a 15-day evaluation for Maple 2025. If you have questions, you can email myself or you can email our support team.